Hey everybody, my name is Adriana. I'm a product specialist here at Affinity, and I wanted to jump online here and just walk through an Affinity overview. So really what we're going to cover today is just a little bit about our platform, what we do, how we help firms like yourselves, and just give you a quick demo of the product and some of the basics that we provide. So first and foremost, I think it's super important for us just to introduce Affinity. And for Affinity, what we are is we are enabling relationship-driven deal makers to find, manage, and close the most important deals for their business. That's probably the cornerstone for most businesses, is being able to manage their relationships and close deals. And really the question is, how do we do that? And a little bit about Affinity as a company. We work with 1,600 plus firms across 60 plus countries, and these firms trust us to manage their deal flow, to capture and manage their relationships. So we work with customers like Bain Capital Ventures, Kleiner Perkins, Mass Mutual Ventures. All of them are in Affinity every single day, managing their tools and managing their pipeline. So what do we do and how do we do it? So first and foremost, our solution is going to help eliminate manual data entry. I think all of us are familiar with those traditional CRMs where we're sitting there and we're entering in every contact in every company, and it's just a huge time suck. So what we want to do is automatically capture communications to create, update, and enrich CRM data. We want you to be spending your time focusing on what's most important, which is your deals. And we're going to help you accelerate your deal flow by providing simple and standardized pipeline measurements there so that your team can use this tool and they'll actually want to use it. And we're also going to provide relationship insights. That's going to empower your team to drive deals with centralized relationship insights. And we'll jump into what that looks like when we get into the platform. So first and foremost, eliminate manual data entry. That's huge. We've learned that about 188 hours a day of data entry are saved per person per year by using Affinity. And how do we do that? We actually go ahead and connect directly to your email. We've learned over time that your communication data and your relationships live across your email and calendar. You're sending emails, you're setting meetings, all of those exist there. And it's this wealth of information that we capture and cultivate and bring it into Affinity for you. So when you log in, you're automatically going to create this Rolodex of people and companies you've spoken with without having to do any manual data entry. And then we're going to go in and augment that data. So we're going to enrich that with information from third-party sources and proprietary data sets so that you get more out of the information, out of the data that you're providing to the system. It helps eliminate that guesswork on relationships. You'll actually be able to see the history of your relationship with someone and be able to view that data across your team. We're going to help you accelerate your deal flow. So improved deal pipeline management, move deals between statuses really easily. We have the ability to view in list view or in a card style, so you can kind of move and drag and drop those deals as they go through your funnel. Full visibility across the team, automatic updates to your pipeline. No longer are people asking where a deal is in the process. Everyone can see that. And because everyone can see that and all that data is consolidated there, you're going to be able to surface analytical insights across the team. And finally, get relationship insights to drive deals. So you're going to be able to collaborate because you're going to have that full relationship history. No more you're saying, hey, does somebody on this team know XYZ or whatever company? We'll actually provide that information for you. And the way that's done is surfacing it through your email communication. So it's no longer, oh, maybe I know this person, but it's been a few years. We're going to take that information, run it through an algorithm, and help you understand the strength of your relation based on your communication history. So those are some of the main ways that we're going to go ahead and help your team understand your relationships, move through your process, and manage your deals. So I'm actually going to just go ahead and jump in and talk to you a little bit about the tool. And so what we'll see here is you'll actually notice we're on the Affinity homepage. And I want to orient you to this screen so you know what you're looking at. And a good way to think about Affinity is in two main sections. So this first section up here, that's going to be your network. And what that is a dynamic Rolodex of all of the organizations and all of the people that you've communicated with across your team. So it's really awesome because this is where we're pulling in that communication history. We do it really simply. You're going to log in with your email credentials, and within 24 to 48 hours, we're going to go ahead and create these Rolodexes for you so you don't have to enter in any of that data. The second component within Affinity is going to be lists. And the best way to think about a list is the way to manage a workflow or a process. So, you have 24,000 organizations, 25,000 people. You can cut and paste that data. You can basically take a subset of this information, put it into a list, and manage a process. So a great example is going to be managing your deal flow. And that's where you're going to be able to run it through your stages and make sure everyone's up to date on that information. So what I want to do is actually jump into the people section and show you what it looks like and what information you'll see here. So if I go ahead and jump into people, you'll see that we have about 25,000 people here that exist. Obviously, it's not a great use of your time to be scrolling through 25,000 people. So we want to give you the ability to easily filter and view this data. So the reason you would jump into the all people Rolodex is to answer those network driven questions, providing that visibility across the team. So for example, let's say you're traveling on a business trip to New York, you want to be able to make the most out of your time there. Maybe you have some meetings, but you want to be able to maybe set up some more so that, this is a valuable trip for you. And that's really easy to do. So maybe you want to say, hey, I want to filter by job titles, and I just want to see everyone who's a CEO, a co-founder, a managing director. And I obviously want to see everybody who's located in New York because that's where I'm going to be geographically. And let's just take a look at our relationship or our communication history here. And I want to filter and say, hey, maybe I want to see everyone that I haven't talked to in the past 3 months because I want to re-engage with those people. And now we've taken that list of 25,000 down to 360. So you can really start to understand your relationship history. You can even filter this down a little more if you wanted to narrow down your list. So something is super easy to just even say, hey, maybe we'll take it down to the past month. And now we have 52 people. What you can do is you can actually save this view, this little floppy disk icon that you'll see right here. You can actually save this, and this will dynamically update. So once people get added to the list, because we're continuing to surface those communication and add new people as you use the system, that information will be updated for you. And what's really nice and what I think it's important to note here is that none of this data was entered manually. So you'll see everything here with these green columns. This was automatically brought in. Not a single keystroke was used for the people to be able to see this information. So anything from the job title, industry, all of your communication history is surfaced here. If you enter in here, you can actually see more context about that email communication. And we have the ability to see things like the organization they're a part of, their LinkedIn URL, all through those data enrichment services that we provide. And what I really want to draw your attention to is a really unique identifier here for Affinity, and that's going to be this connections column, because this is where you're able to drive those relationship insights. So you can see who on your team knows Eric. You can see the strength of that relationship. So you can see Kristen here has 100 out of 100 with Eric. So that's a pretty strong relationship score that you're seeing. And you know that that's based on that communication data. So there's truth to that. And so that's what you're going to see when you look at the all people org. So an easy way to sort of slice and dice your entire Rolodex of people, and the ability to do the same within organizations. So all organizations is going to look really similar, but instead of people over here on the left-hand side, you're going to see companies. So you're going to see the company and the domain, and then a lot of that same enriched information. So things like the connection column here, the source of introduction. So Kristen Harmon on my team is actually who introduced us first to the JP Morgan company. And things like that. And the same filtering capabilities exist within here. So you're able to see that information really easily and cleanly. And if you wanted to drill down and see a little more information about a particular profile, you can always click into a person. You can actually search within our universal search bar here. If you wanted to find somebody, you can search people, companies, opportunities, things of that nature. So it's really easy to find what you're looking for. But we want to take a look here at Miles's profile. And the first thing that I want to note is this is where you're able to see, hey, Miles maybe have a handful of different email addresses. Maybe he's worked at different companies. We're going to be able to see that information, and we're smart enough to be able to merge that. So you reduce that duplication that happens with a lot of the traditional CRMs that you're seeing here. We go ahead and get rid of that for you. And then it's pretty straightforward. You have the ability to see all of the information about Miles, the organization he belongs to, location, job title, all that information that you saw in the all people sheet, but organized nicely for one specific contact. And as you scroll down here, you're able to see information about your relationship and your communication history here. So this is just a feed of every communication that you've had, whether it be leaving a note, having a meeting, or sending emails here, and that's where you're able to, or logging phone calls. All of that information is captured in one succinct place for you. And you can actually filter it if you'd like. So you can say, hey, I want to see everything in the last 3 months, maybe even the last year. update that range, and we give you a graphical representation. So you can see in October, 5 emails were sent, 4 emails were received, a really easy way to have a visual representation of your communication history with Miles. An important thing to note here is that we actually take privacy and security super seriously here at Affinity. We're capturing a lot of your email data, and we understand that that's paramount to most of our customers today. So we give you the option to control what you see and what your team members see. So you'll notice here that there's actually email subject hidden. So maybe you want to be able to show, hey, I did communicate with this person, but they don't necessarily need to be able to see the subject line, the content of that email. So we're going to go ahead and give you the option to choose that preference on a case-by-case basis, where you just say, hey, maybe I just want to hide that, or maybe I really want to show it all, in which case that's also an option for you as well. Furthermore, if we go over here to the right-hand side, that same connections column is going to show up here. So you can see your source of introduction, your strongest relationships, all that information will populate here for you to be able to see for one particular content. You can also see any introductions that have been made by Milesburg. So, obviously relationships are at the heart of every business, and there's definitely instances where you're going ahead and introducing people to other people at different companies, contacts, referrals, things of that nature. We'll track that automatically through that communication information, so you can see that here. And just like standard CRMs, you can add notes here. So if you wanted to, go ahead and write a note about something with Miles, they'll have that surface here. It's really easy to log a note here. And then it'll populate on that feed below as well as here. Reminders, also important. So if you have certain reminders for Miles, this to stay up to date with them, make sure nothing slips through the cracks. That's where reminders are going to live within a particular contact. And then files. So we actually will automatically surface any files that are found in email attachments. So we'll do that kind of first initial lift for you. So you can see, oh, hey, I've sent these files back and forth with Miles. You can share them with the rest of your team in this uploaded files section. And you can always upload a file manually as well if maybe you have something you want to add to this profile. So that lives here as this repository for that information. We also have the ability to integrate with many of your file share systems. So if we are surfacing these files here, we can push them into things like a Dropbox, a Box, a Google Drive. So that's the details here for a person. So we've kind of given you the overlay of saying, hey, here's all of your organizations, here's all of your people. This is what a profile looks like within Affinity. And so that's the lay of the land. What you probably want to do next is the ability to actually go in and manage a process of some kind. The most common thing we're seeing is obviously managing your deals. They're the biggest part of your business, and you want a really succinct, streamlined, and standardized way to do that. And we give you that ability by using our lists. So I'm actually going to hop into one of our deals lists here, and you'll notice that the view is very similar to the all people and the all org, but we'll have some slight differentiation. So one of those being this concept of a status is a good way to say, hey, I'm actually going ahead and managing a specific process. I have statuses or stages that I want to move through. And it's important to note that you're noticing a lot of these screens, they actually mimic an Excel spreadsheet. And that was an intentional design decision because pretty much everybody in the world today knows how to use Excel. So that's going to drive faster user adoption by having that similar look and feel. But we do give you other options as well, such as that card style, which I'll get to in just a minute. So in your active pipeline here, you can see here all the different deals that we're working in the companies, the ability to see that connection right within here so that you can open that up. And then statuses here. And these are completely configurable if you'd like. You can always edit these statuses if you wanted to. So you can change this if you wanted to make a quick change, rearrange the order, anything like that. We give you the flexibility to work for what your business process is, what your team's vernacular is. So it's really personalized and customizable to you. You're obviously able to assign ownerships or deal leads. And maybe, if I'm Steve here, I want to come in and I want to filter and just see my deals. It's really easy to do that quickly and on the fly. And again, that same concept that we touched on earlier, being able to save this as a unique view. So if I wanted to come in and save my view here, I'd be able to do that. I would be able to say, hey, I want to save this, and this is going to be Steve's view. And now that exists for you. So a really easy way to do that. We also give you, as I mentioned, the way to customize this. So if you wanted to, you could actually go ahead and add custom columns. So if I wanted to go ahead and track a particular data point that's important to my business and my workflow, I can go ahead and do that quickly and easily. So I can say, yeah, maybe it's important for me to have a tier associated with this, tier for business. You can create that actual column, and then you pick the field type. So we have a couple different options. So if it's a text, a number, a date, a physical address, we have those options, or a drop down. So realistically, you're going to have a drop down as one of your main reasons. And then this can be ability to say, hey, I want this to be single value, so I can only have one tier, but there are, of course, instances where maybe you'd want to have multiple. So you can have multiple values appear in that field. So I'll just use single field for the example, create that column, and then, that took me all of 10 seconds to create a column. And now I can go ahead and add options here. So I can say, tier 1, and then add as I wanted to. So maybe it's 1 through 4. And now, that was super simple and customizable for my business. And if I wanted to, I can kind of pick and choose where these columns live. So I can go ahead and drag this up here if I wanted this to be more earlier in my list. And you can edit and change that data here. We also still have that enriched information as well. So you're able to see things like location, industry, description, all of those exist within this view. So this is one way to visualize, but if you're someone who maybe likes to have a more visual representation of your deals, we have the option of what we call Kanban or card style. And this is a way, a lot of, those Monday morning meetings where you're coming in and you're going through your deals, you want to have visibility across all of these deals. You don't want to have to be asking people for updates. Now everybody can come in, they can have one centralized view, and you can even share it. You can simply copy and paste this URL, send it to your team before the meeting starts, and everybody's on the same page. It's going to make those meetings more efficient, easier, and more streamlined. So let's say, this is being filtered by the different statuses that we have here. So you can see introduction, partner meeting, diligence, again, completely customizable to your workflow. And let's say, if I wanted to move Tesla here, so let's say Tesla's doing great, I want to move it over to the next stage in partner meeting. It's going to allow me to do that. And we also gives you the ability to put some controls and some guardrails on here. So maybe if you do want to move it to partner meeting, there's some data that we need to know for our data integrity purposes. So yeah, if you're going to move it to partner meeting, we need to know the priority. So maybe this is a priority 1. And now you can go ahead and move that. So that's an example of what we would call a status trigger, where you'd be able to provide additional control and guardrails over the information that's processed and making it much more standardized across your team. You can also choose what you'd like to see when you're looking at a card. So if you wanted to go ahead and filter, you can configure your board. If you wanted to even just say, hey, I only want to see the name and keep it slim view, you can do that as well. So we give you that flexibility to match your workflow and your needs as a business. You can also change how it's grouped. Status is the most common one, as is obviously giving you a visual flow of your pipeline. You can change it if there's something else you'd like to see on your board view. So all of that information that we've taken, all of that data that we've brought in, enriched, we're going to be able to give it to you in a very easy, digestible view. And then what we've heard from a lot of our customers is that's great. We love being able to manage our deal flow, process everything, have it be organized across our team. But we also want to be able to have insight into this information. We want to be able to surface insights and have a new lens into our business. And the best way to do that is analytics. So we offer a best-in-class analytics view here where you can build custom dashboards to fit your needs. So if you wanted to be able to see things like your key metrics, this is the ability to do that, where you can see the number of deals sourced, active deals, deals won. That information is brought in here, and you can continue to build out a dashboard so that the key stakeholders of your business always know what's going on from an analytics perspective. So you can see the number of deals added by quarter. Looks like we're going down. That's a trend we don't want to see. So maybe we need to be talking to our team about why that is the case and help provide additional resources to help make those deals added move in the other direction here. Be able to see your deal amount and count, your averages here by owner if you'd like to be able to drill into some of those specifics to see key metrics across your team, average deal size, maybe you want to see it by vertical. So you can see it's an incredibly robust reporting tool that will give you the ability to slice and dice your data and provide insights that maybe you weren't able to see before, all because we're capturing that information and providing you an easy way to move it through a pipeline. So if you wanted to even dig into it, you could quite simply go ahead and explore this information, add some different filters, change a date range. Super simple to do with this tool. And it's something that you guys can do on the fly if you wanted to, change this information here and have that data load if you wanted to. So that's a quick overview of the reporting capabilities that we have. Really easy to create as many dashboards as you want for the needs that you have. But it's important to note that you don't necessarily live your whole entire day in Affinity. Maybe you're actually going to be spending time sourcing information, or you want to be able to take your relationships with you outside of the Affinity platform. And we actually allow you to do that with a really simple tool called Affinity Pathfinder. So if I'm looking at a particular company website, we're going to have this awesome Chrome extension that goes wherever you are on the web. So if I'm looking at Seismic here, I can see, our Affinity logo pops up here, and it's going to tell me who I know at Seismic. And you can see here, I know 2 people at the company. I know Jessica, who's a senior director, and I know Amanda, who's a senior manager. But you can see here with the relationship strengths, hey, I only have a 55 out of 100. I occasionally communicate with Jessica. We don't know each other super well, and I actually don't communicate with Amanda all that much. I only have a 38 out of 100. So if I'm trying to learn a little bit more about this business or find out the best relationship, maybe I'm not the best person. But what I can do is I can actually extend my network through a concept of alliances. So what I can do here is I can say, hey, I can invite, personal people that I'm good friends with or good colleagues with that I know really well to ally with me. And that way we can mutually share each other's network with each other. It's a great way to sort of understand and really have more impact in terms of that network effect. So I can see John. John is the CMO here, and my ally Nate, who is a colleague of mine from a previous job, we've maintained a really good working relationship over the past 5 years. So I allied with him, and I know that he's got a great relationship with John here. It's 96 out of 100. So if I'm looking to, get more involved in this company or have an introduction here, Nate's going to be the person that I know, and Affinity is going to be the tool that surfaced that insight for me. So allies is a really powerful way to expand your network, and they get the benefit as well too. So they're able to see information about your network as well. So that way, you're not just living completely in the Affinity platform. You can take it with you, that network that's so important to you, and that will go with you anytime you're browsing the web. It works on websites, LinkedIn profiles, etc. That's where you can see that information and really have the power of that relationship network. So that's a pretty quick overview of the product. We covered a lot of ground here. So just to quickly summarize what Affinity can do, we're going to help you get rid of that manual data entry. We're going to automate that by capturing communication data from your email and calendar. We're going to surface that and enrich that with our third-party and proprietary data sets. We're also going to help you accelerate your deal flow by giving you really simple, standardized processes to manage a pipeline, whether you want to see it in a list view or card style view, and quickly move deals through the funnel. And we're also going to let you drive insights from that through our analytics. So you're going to be able to see that information with visual representation, graphs and charts, and drive that information from your business. And finally, we're going to be able to take that with you. So when you're traveling on the web and surfing other websites, that relationship data can be surfaced here. So that's a quick little overview of Affinity. I hope that this was helpful. It gave you some insight into what we do and how we help companies like yourself understand your network and accelerate your deal flow. Thanks so much.